Alright, welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you've never been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on this channel or every time we update a story that we have been following on this channel. Note, we always follow through with our updates on stories. Sometimes our stories that we follow take years and we stick to the story until the final outcome. So again, hit that subscribe button, but click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time we put a new video up, and we put videos up every single day or every time a new update is uploaded to this channel. Without further ado, let's get into the Diddy situation. Sean P. Diddy Combs, Brother Love, whatever you want to call him, Diddy, Puffy, well, he is in a quagmire. He is in a bit of a hot water. I made my predictions already that he would be found guilty and not guilty at the same time. There will be charges that he is found guilty on, and there'll be charges that he is found not guilty on. That is my previous prediction. Keeping you up to date, as of July 2nd, 2025, this morning, bright and early, all of 5 a.m. Sean Diddy Combs trial live update. The jury has said that they have reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. They still cannot reach a verdict on count 1. They cannot reach a verdict on count 1 because they have people on both sides. Not one person, but multiple jurors on both sides, split. What is about to happen? Let's get into that. So, after deliberating, sending letters or notes to the judge, which came back with the judge encouraging them to follow his instructions and do their due diligence, to do their civic duties, and deliberate amongst each other, have conversations, question your fellow juror, get to a solution. They've been working and working and working. Now, after 7 weeks of testimony, hearing 34 individuals who testified on behalf of the prosecution over a 7-week period, that's almost 2 months of sitting there and just listening and listening. Somebody got tired. A lot of people were getting tired. People out here watching, listening through third-party sources were getting tired. For the simple reason is they did not televise the trial like they did the recent trial of somebody famous. Like, say, Brian Steele was his attorney with the Young Thug RICO case out of Atlanta, Georgia. That was on television. We were able to follow that daily. The YNW Melly trial, we were able to follow that daily. For some reason, they decided not to televise Diddy's trial, and a lot went on behind the scenes that we in the public just do not know about. Of course, you had people sitting in that came out, influencers or news media persons who came out and gave their version and their understanding of what they think happened in the court. But again, that's third party, okay? So with 67 pages of instructions, the judge sends the jury off to deliberate. The jury comes back in less than 24 hours saying, we've reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. Still undecided on count 1. I'm thinking, and legal experts are also saying they're willing to bet that it's a guilty verdict on all those other counts, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, the note read. We are unable to reach a verdict on count 1 as we have jurors with unpersuadable opinions on both sides, was the exact words of the note, recent note that was sent to the judge, which is about the third or fourth note. Now, after conferring with lawyers from both sides, the judge, Subramanian, told the jury, continue deliberating the case. The panel will resume its deliberations on Wednesday morning, which is today, the 2nd of July, 2025. Earlier on Tuesday, though, the jury asked the judge to review testimony from Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend. The jury asked the judge to review some of those testimonies. And a male escort after 3 specific incidents, including the 2016 assault video that took place at the Los Angeles hotel, which was caught on surveillance video. Wow. Them asking to review Cassie's testimony. I'm hoping they hear the part where Cassie said that she was always up for a freak off, or the cross-examination part of the situation, not just her testimony. Okay? Either way, if they lean to the side of Cassie alone and her testimony alone, the fact that she said that that incident you saw in the hallway was them coming fresh off of a freak off. They had been binging drugs and sexual activities were going on for an extended period of time, and she was the one who initiated that, which led to that fight we saw in the hallway. Why did it happen? She was asked. She said because she wanted something, and in return she knew if she gave him what he wanted up front first, satisfied his need for a freak off, then she would be able to go off and do her own thing. It's a give for a give kind of situation. May I say this? In this RICO case, they have 2 alleged victims. The only 2 victims are 2 women who Diddy has had extended relationships with, like years of involvement with these 2 women. 2 women, one of which he was very public with for many years. Everybody knew Cassie as Diddy's woman. It wasn't like he was hiding her. She was very much front page and out in the public, right? 2 women who he provided with a all-inclusive, all expenses paid luxury lifestyle. And in exchange for this all-inclusive, all expense paid luxury lifestyle, they catered to the freaky side of his nature, sexually. That's how I see that. The jury, on the other hand, especially Diddy is a black man. And I know somebody is going to be like, oh my God, don't pull the race card. We have to pull the race card. Race is at play. How many black people are on this jury? Diddy himself is a black man. These 2 women, who the only 2 that are considered to be victims in this case, they are non-black women. So federal prosecutors say that for decades, Diddy abused, threatened, coerced women to participate in drug-fueled marathon sexual encounters that he called freak-offs, and used his business empire along with guns, kidnapping, and arson to control his victims. That's a lot for a jury to take in. What women? Because the way it's worded as if he has a whole bunch of women out there who these things happen to. But if you look at the affidavit, the paperwork for the case, it clearly says who the 2 women are. And if you look at the relationship of these 2 women, these were women he spent lots of money on, right? So the defendant used power, violence, and fear to get what he wanted. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic said during this week's closing arguments, and it's time to hold him accountable. Well, we heard that when the final all came down in the courtroom, that Diddy looked like he was about to burst into tears. His 2 daughters actually did burst into tears. They were crying. There was a part where they huddled close together, like they weren't able to get around him and hug him up and all that, but the family cuddled close together, and Diddy's lawyer team surrounded him. News report media also said that when the jury sent the note to the judge that said, we've reached a verdict on 2, 3, 4, and 5, but we're still split on 1. And we have people on both sides who are unshakable on that first one. Diddy's team looked sad and broken and hopeless, as if they know that this is a guilty verdict. And the prosecution, they looked happy, as if they scored big. My prediction is he's about to get slammed. He's about to get slammed. I only hope that they keep the same energy for the ex-CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. I only hope they keep the same energy when they generate a lawsuit against the Playboy empire and Hugh Hefner's estate, because Hugh Hefner is no longer here. I only hope they keep the same energy with Harvey Weinstein, the Hollywood movie mogul. I only hope they keep the same energy with all these wealthy Caucasian men who are in positions of power, who, when I read their paperwork of what they are accused of, it makes Diddy's case look like kindergarten, playground, child's play, minor issues. So I hope they keep the same energy when they go after those people. Predicting what the outcome is, I still stand on what I said. Now, this could go as in a mistrial because of the split on one, but they've reached a verdict on all the others. If they were split on everything, then it would be a mistrial for the whole case. But they've reached a verdict, and everybody is now guessing what the hell the verdict is. One side of my mind is telling me that the jury, they're fed up. They've heard enough over a 7 weeks period and listening to 34 people give testimony. It all comes down to how good the closing argument of Diddy's defense team was. Were they able to convince this jury that they sat here and heard 34 people over 7 weeks tell bullshit lies, or make up embellished stories, or stretched the truth too far, and it's not what it really seems like? 7 weeks is a long time to indoctrinate. 7 weeks is good amount of time to put information into somebody's brain to where their decision is unshakable when you take 20 minutes to try to take out what others took 7 weeks to put in. I want you to think about the mathematics of this. So it all comes down to how good his team was. And let's remember, Diddy's team did not call any witnesses to the stand on their behalf. They could have called a bunch of people who were celebrities. And this is where we would say, damn, where were his celebrity friends? When Diddy was up, when he was on top of the world, he had a lot of powerful friends around him. When he did his all-white parties, all the who's of who's and what's of nots wanted to be there and were there. So how come when he got in trouble and it was time to stand in court on his behalf and say, listen, we've been to his parties, we've been to the X, Y, and the Z around him. This does not fit his character. We've seen him with Cassie. Him and Cassie have gotten in fights in front of us, and that is true. Honestly, we always thought that the relationship was a bit dysfunctional because she was abusive to him at times as well as he was abusive to her at times. And although it was wrong, we thought they had it under control and we needed to stay out of grown folks' business, which is what we did. They could have came to his defense and made it look like, hey, he actually had a real relationship with Cassie. He didn't kidnap her. He wasn't exploiting her. He wasn't dragging her around. That was actually his real woman. She just catered to his freakiness. Nobody showed up on Diddy's behalf. Nobody showed up on behalf of his defense team. Nobody showed up to rebuttal any of the stories that were told against him for them 7 weeks of testimonies from 34 different people. If this jury is not able to see through the people who testified, especially the ones who seem like they have an agenda because they were at 1 minute trying to get back with Diddy and trying to get their employment back with him, even up to the point where he was arrested and Jane was on her way over to the hotel to give him a freak off. Even up to that point, you were still involved with him. You still said you loved him. You still found him to be somebody worthy of being in your life. You weren't running away from him. You weren't making efforts to leave him. Nothing. Even up to that point. If the jury can see through that and see this for what it is, then Diddy might walk, and them coming to a verdict so quickly on 2, 3, 4, and 5, that verdict might be not guilty. But we don't know the dynamics of the jury. If the dynamics of the jury is more non-black than black people, if the dynamics of the jury is people who are not people of his peers, like they didn't grow up with the same background. Wild and out in Brooklyn, you from Harlem, back in the 90s, it was wild. You came up from poverty, made it rich, all that. If they don't come from that cloth and that background, and they're like reserved people from the suburbs who had a sheltered life, and every piece of information in this trial was super shocking to them, then, oh yeah, they made up their minds that he was guilty a long time ago. And that might be the reason why they came up so quick with a verdict on 2, 3, 4, and 5. If the jury members are back there holding each other accountable and they're saying, nah, you're not doing your due diligence. How do you see guilty in this? Please explain it to me. Or how do you see not guilty in this? Please explain it to me. But remember, this and this one said that. If they're not having those kind of conversations back there and they're just moving to get the hell up out of here because Judge Subramanian was pushing the jury to hurry up and finish this trial before the 4th of July, which is a huge holiday, which, by the way, is going to be a problem in the future. If Diddy is convicted, there will be a bone of contention there, giving the jury 67 pages of instructions, limited time to go through those 67 pages, and also pushing them to get this done before the 4th of July. Today is the 2nd of July, a big holiday. The 4th of July, where America celebrates its independence, is 2 days away. You should have never, as a judge, given them that ultimatum or even made it public that that's what you're trying to do. It kind of seems like you're hurrying this case along, and that might be a violation of his constitutional rights, where he did not get due process. You didn't give everybody enough time to think. You didn't give everybody enough time to go through the details with a fine-teeth comb and decide properly what the verdict is based on those 7 weeks of testimony from 34 different individuals, 67 pages of instructions, and a day and a half, 2 days to come up with a verdict. So that in itself could pose a problem later on. We're going to see what it is. I'm still going to stick to my original prediction of this case. And the original prediction of this case is that Sean P. Diddy Combs will be found guilty and not guilty at the same time. What happens after? Sentencing. So at sentencing, just like in the RICO case for Young Thug, we don't know the deals that could be struck. When Young Thug was going through his trial, they also said the same thing. A bunch of people out here who are not law educated, including myself, we like to throw things around on social media. Oh, he's looking at mandatory minimum of 30. He's looking at life in prison without parole. He's looking at this, that, and the other. He walked away. He was confined throughout his trial, and at the end of his trial, he walked away. He walked away because his team was able to bargain a deal that he would be released under certain conditions. 15 years or 10 years of probation. He had to leave the city from which he was born and raised and made his millions and is a very much intricate part of the culture, driving the wave. And he had to pack up and leave that. So he had to make his whole family, his roots, everything is there, but he could no longer be there in that city. Those were parts of the deal. So when it comes time for Diddy to be sentenced, I don't see them sending him to prison for 30, 40, 50 years. But I definitely see time served. And this is another prediction I'm making. I definitely see time served. Somebody said, yo, SoFlo, I think 5 to 10 is what he's going to be looking at. Me, I'm saying it's going to be time served, probation for the rest. Probably about 15 years of probation, just like they did Young Thug, and other stipulations as well. I have a feeling that final will be happening today, which is the 2nd of July, or tomorrow the 3rd for sure. But definitely, I believe it'll be by the end of the 2nd today. In all of this, the judge can actually declare a mistrial on the first charge that the jury, or a hung jury on the first charge, which leads to a mistrial that the jury has said they can't come to a conclusion on, and then ride with the decision on count 2, 3, 4, and 5 if the jury says guilty or not guilty. That we will wait to see. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one, and I'll catch you on the next video. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.